better I think. Sanje,
So let's set our motivation to do whatever we possibly can to attain the peerless state of enlightenment through perfecting all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path, knowing that to perfect those trainings in turn I need to have a good understanding of what they are about, and I gain that understanding through being able to rely on a non-mistaken presentation of the path. And so it is with this in mind that I come here this morning to listen to a brief explanation on the outlines of the great treatise of the stages of the path to enlightenment, composed by great Lam Rim Outline.
자도 고추 고니도 니바 도라 차와라 니자 라셰메베 도라 차와도 민기 켜바지 권해서 주주 도라 차와고 저 당고 라셰메베 도라 차와들 시전 다 풍보다 집에 좋가봐 다 풍보다 다대베 좋가봐 대철 하만 남자 켜바 주고 될라 때네 가사 주마다고 차출로 오신 섭지시
So we've been looking at this outline, or following the explanation of the chariot. So this was the kind of example, and so now we're looking at what that example illustrates, and that it has been looked on, will be looked on under the two subheadings, and so how how it illustrates the lack of intrinsic existence of persons, and then also how it illustrates the meaning that that the person is established in terms of many different names. And so the first of these, how it illustrates the lack of intrinsic existence, is dealt with under four different ways, and four different refutations indeed. And so the refutation that the self and the aggregates are one, intrinsically one, that the self and the aggregates are intrinsically different, that how that argument then how that illustrates or refutes remaining arguments or remaining positions, and fourthly, based on an understanding of that, then how we view the person appearing like an illusion.
다다 풍분 다 라싱 두바이나 녀바 지시에 다 라싱 다다 풍분이 라싱 두바이나 녀바 가리 그냥 가리요 냐면 다 뇌제 숨숨대서 다도 마와 되메와 다도 마와 되메와 다 망불 좋아다 에 계지체도 좋아서 그 교육 그래서.
And so the first of these, the refutation that the self is one with the self and aggregates are one. And so the person is asking, what is the problem with that, of viewing self and aggregates as being intrinsically one? And the answer is that there are three problems with that, three difficulties. One is that if you made that assertion, then it would be pointless to propound a self. Secondly, if you made that assertion, you would have to deal with the idea or notion that there were many selves. And thirdly, if you made that assertion, that you would have to accept that you would have to claim that the self, like the aggregates, was subject to production and disintegration.
니바 타데베 조카바들라 다 풍불레 모보투베 타데바 임바이나 어느 풍부 천이 깨진 깨바다 지바다 네바 미데바 주토레스 깨진에서 미데바 주토레 페나 페나 탈레아사 다 발랄레 셰두투바 발랄게 천이다 템바 미바 신호자.
The second of these positions is the refutation of the position that the self is different from the aggregates. And so here, that the problem of asserting that the self is essentially different from the aggregates is that the self does not have the characteristics of the aggregates, namely the characteristics of arising or production, abiding and disintegration. And so it gives the example like that a horse is essentially different from a cow, because the horse does not have the characteristics of a cow.
수바데 초알 하만 남자 케바 주가네 라제 타데도 요바이나 안 타데도 요바이마이나 안 카쇼나 쇼요바다서 카쇼서 쇼로 네가 카쇼나 쇼요바다 풍보라 다라 풍보 때네 예베 때다 때베 초니 요바네 라시 셴도 매베 때다 때버 매바니 싱달라 샤바시노.
The third of these refutations is how those arguments also refute each of the remaining positions. And so here is saying that if self and aggregates were intrinsically different, then it would have to be like they would have to kind of exist in the two ways where they could be both basis and dependent. And the example is given of like yogurt in a bowl, that like for that composite to be established, one is kind of like the basis and the other is the dependent. And so here, for example, in terms of self and aggregates, so either the self could exist in dependence on the aggregates, or the aggregates exist in dependence on the self. But since they lack any intrinsic difference, they're not intrinsically different, this notion of a basis and a dependent is invalid. It does not exist. They do not exist like that. And then it says, referred to the explanation on the chariot, in terms of the chariot in existing and so on in relation to its parts.
그래서 미실에 자네 지금 가서는 빼나 주매 달라 미실라 통하다 미실라 통하다 나와 딸기서 나와 딸기 달라 매버서 나와 딸기 매버서 미기 쉐베 통하다 때는 나와 딸기 매버 미기 쉐베 통 나와 딸기 매버 미기 쉐베 통하서는 딱 이제 주말 캔 되게 제가 대조를 때는 좋아 그 미통 되고 열어 이 샤초서래 다들 주말 프랑크랄잖아 나와 지야 미기 쉐베게 쉐게 열어봐다 그래서 미시 그래서 미기 쉐베 통하라 때는 나와 다른 매버 그래서 나와 다른 매버 미기 쉐베 통하 그래서 디 제디 그래서 대 디우당 나당 디우선다 돌아서 봐 이거 봐 제 달랑 통하게 제 안데 코랑이 다야 나당 아니 딱 되게 지금 이거 가리 보이네 데델 젠 중화데 딱까지 데데지 미셸 통화할 때는 달랑도 나와대 주마 주변 나방에 봐 개바신 거죠.
In addition to again that they like cancer glass or tanyebe shebe yon to meba nangwa tang addition to ranking no drupa
네, 다 탄예베 쉐베 탄예베 쉐베 그래서 탄예베 쉐베 년도 매봐 다까지
베탄 돈닥디 디 자쪽에 왜나 그래서데
다까지 나와라 자는 지도 나와라 그래서 나와 딸기에서 나와 딸라도 매봐서 미셸라 나와 딸기 미시 그래서 나와 그래서 주메 딸라 미기 쉐베에서 통화다 나와 딸기에서 딸라 매버서 미기 쉐베 통화를 때네 미기 쉐베 통화를 때네 딸라로 나와대 주마 준비 나방게 밖에 와 있는
대신도 되나
다 대신도 간사라서 봐 타니베 쉐베 녀도 매봐 나와 미실라 나와 딸기 주메 딸라 미기 쉐베 통화라 때네 그래서 주메 딸라 미기 쉐베 통화다서 미기 쉐베 통화다 나와 딸기에서 미기 쉐베 통화다 미 쉐베 그래서 디 딸라도 나와 딸라도 통화다 나와지 나와다 아디 매바데 답변은 주마켄 프랑게 미기 쉐베 통화 주마켄 프랑게 미기 쉐베 통화 그래서 디 제라데 도다 디우인 바데 거 통되게 열어 봐 자고 매자 다 자고 이제 직사를 던다 때는 하나 달라도 나와대 주마 준비 나방게 봐 딱 이제 가서도 주마 준비 나방게 봐게 봐 신도서 아니 간사라 소바 대 탄입에 쉐베 년도 매봐 나와 탄입에 쉐베 년도 매봐 교 매봐 나야 대니 라지 뭐베 주베 라시가 동바 니셰 기녀바 니발라 때는 간사대 주마 준비 나방게 봐게 봐 신도서 이노서 딱 이제 가봐 자기나 가서 pero yo me quedé tabo que México tala nache nawa tar que matu bate khora nyeba ni de yor bata to da de ta ka to da to nyeba ni de yor es nyeba ni to da din nang xin chen kunzo be chue da kunzo be so la ta ka ja kansa la so ba ta ka ja china ge chue tam je tanye zang ge nyo do me ba sha tu ge nyo do me ba chue na yang da nawa de ni ran ji mo be ju ba de da du sam me ba ching ge ba ni to ta kunzo da don da la ja yang ko
So the fourth of these subheadings deals with how the person appears like an illusion based on that refutation, or indeed those refutations. So it's given as the example and saying that to understand this correctly, you need to look at it from these two sides. On the one hand, you need an eye sense consciousness, which actually sees the illusory arising of a horse and elephant. But you also need this. It's also kind of necessary to infuse in that the position of the actual magician. So this is the classical example where a musician or a magician using materials, spells, and indeed a certain level of meditative concentration is able to conjure up the elephant and horses into space. And those who are looking, they actually see horses and elephants in space and believe them to exist in the way they appear. But from the point of view of the musician, he knows what he's doing. He knows, he can see himself the horses and elephants, but he doesn't believe that they exist in the way that they appear, because he knows he's created them out of spells and so on. And so this is saying you need both. So say the former position of those who are just seeing and apprehending the appearance to exist in the way it appears is like a conventional understanding, a conventional consciousness. But from the second point of view, it's a sort of, that corresponds with sort of the ultimate understanding that you're getting, that they actually lack any intrinsic existence. So when you put that to, say, example, and refer that to a person, you can say that there is an undeniable appearance to a conventional understanding, a conventional consciousness of a person. But at the same time, there is also that ascertainment by reasoned knowledge that that person lacks any intrinsic existence, or is empty of existing as having any intrinsic existence. And so in this way one gains certainty with regard to the appearance of a person as being like an illusion or false.
나와 요르데 셰바요 말이 최단자랑 신도 두바 유대의 두바 난게 요르데 셰바요 말와 당어도 레 당보 왔지 나와 요르 나신이가 요르와 나신이가 요르와 딱 번째 저 데모와데 찍바로 왔다 데모와디 가서래 데모와디 다다디 나와다 셰바니가 용거로 왔다 빼나 미글레베 때모 미글레바스나 나 뉴바타 에 제가 뉴바티도 제베가 유에되게 지어봤다 유에되게 다 칠레베 때모 칠레서는 나 뉴바다 되게 제자 마집에 제찬에 제라 용한되게 되게 아니 칠레베 때모가 통구요 말 그래서 다나 통구요 말이 다나 셰바요 말이 칠레베
나와디 통구요 말이 와
나와요 다나 난게요 말이 다나 셰바요 말이 그러다 나신이가 요 말봐. 나신이가 요 말봐.
And so the other way of presenting this point is, of course, that from the understanding of an Aryan being who has directly perceived emptiness, the appearance appears to them, but they do not grasp it or apprehend it as existing in the way it appears. Whereas for the ordinary person, the appearance appears and they also grasp or apprehend it to exist in the way it appears. And so I was saying here, like from the point of view of the magician here, using spells, using materials, gives rise to this appearance of horse and elephants. That those who are witnessing that, those who are under the influence of that, as it were, they both that horses and elephants appear to them, and they grasp or apprehend them to exist in the way they appear. The magician knows better. They have the, as it were, the direct realization of what they're doing. They see the appearance, but they don't apprehend it to exist in the way it appears. And then, as part of that example, there's also a third party that comes in after the spell. After the spell has been cast, and so they're not under the influence of the spell, and they neither see horses and elephants, nor are therefore apprehend them to exist in the way they appear. So they're not affected by the spell. As so that's that the example there of those who come in later is like somebody who is enlightened. So there's no for them no horses and elephants are appearing, and obviously then no apprehension or grasping on to the existence of horses and elephants arises.
제일 리겐데 캡사도가 제일 리겐데 난게 요마레 신게 요마레 로다 랑보체 난게 요마레 랑보체 신게 요마레 아니 조송아 요마레 무이때버로 투바 요만도 하고.
So there's some advantage to coming in after that third person. They horses and elephants don't appear to them, therefore they don't grasp onto them as existing. But neither do they have to pay anything to the magician for for the show. So we're there actually in the tent in the show, and we're completely, taken in by the lie. We're just completely deceived by what's going on, and we have to pay for it as well.
Also,
and not good for the eyes.
준비 나와 니바 기바 다 니바 민기에서 니바 민기 켜가지고 권해 줍주 전화 자원에서 지달 다 방로라 소발라 때네 신들 따관나 양라 되나 녀와 랑바 자와다 녀와 렘바 일라 신다 제법보다 녀와 렘바보 임바 대신도 풍봉가다 감주다 깨제주라 때네 다도 도바나 대다 녀와 대다 다도 도바나 대다 녀와 렘바 보다 대신도 다니 풍보 렘바라 소바 렘베 자와 제베나 제법보 풍보라 소바네 대 랑와 제베 내 임베나 자와 이노자.
So the next second there outline, just after halfway down, page 379, it says the example illustrates how the person is established under various names. And so here is just kind of the different terminology associated with this relationship between person and aggregates. So it's saying here, just like when we spoke about the chariot, that the chariot was designated or imputed in dependence upon its parts, such as wheels, etc. And so in that example, that the parts were what was appropriated, or the objects, and the chariot was that which was the appropriator or the agent. So here, in terms of the self and aggregates, that here the self is regarded as the appropriator, and that the aggregates are the appropriated, in terms of it kind of like again being the self again being imputed in dependence upon its parts. Parts here they refer to like the 5 aggregates, the 6 constituents, the 6 sources, etc. And so they are the appropriated. And so it's like that the self takes up the aggregates, etc. And as such it acts as like an agent. And the aggregates themselves are like that which is taken up, that which is appropriated, and they are like objects because they are what the self adopts.
다기 와 켜버 때문에 대들 다들 라시 유메 체 리베 제와나 리베 제와나 tumbu kandu yang nebara tumbu kandu yang mani beasa mani ba tela ranshin ki kheba ti se rigbe tene dadi migla so beasa dadi migla so pa oshe jida nebar chu tetana dagi wala yang ranshin mete nejo beasa dada dagiwe rangshen kanya mami pana kwale namba tuwa juro cha.
The next heading below that one, 3, it says, sorry, no, it's not. It's another 2. It says, teaching that what the self owns is also thereby established as lacking intrinsic existence. And so here it's saying, it really follows on from when reasoning searches for the intrinsic existence through reasoning, using reasonings, and it is subsequently not found in any of the 7 different ways, then we conclude that the idea of an intrinsically existent self is refuted. And so when we reach that point, then it is logical to extrapolate that then how could what the self owns, such as the I, also how could anything like that intrinsically exist? So it's saying like, how could reason find the I that belongs to self, etc.? And so it concludes also that what the self owns also lacks any intrinsic existence. And furthermore, saying that the yogis who do not see any self or that which belongs to the self, and really realize their lack of intrinsic existence, gain liberation from cyclic existence.
다 수바 리바 되는 젤라에 차려 추면서 다 지다 다다 풍부 제바 신대 제바도 충분해서 대신도 bomba다 나불라 소바다 추카리바 지나게 추카리바 이네로 소바 남자 셰버차다 리바 큰거 받자니 셰버차다 bom발라 소바나 란지 술라 소바 남다 지다 타텔라 소베 제베 라시 유메 최베 리바 남바 둘도 자와나 좀바나 대다도 대니 칸도야 미니치 라시 트베로 다 마제베 가서 마제베 타네메베 셴월 마제베에서 타네베 셴월다 지가서래 타네베 셴월 다 가서 줘봐 이노세다 그러다 가서 지가서래 랑신게 좀더 투모도서 랑신을 제바 마제베자다 타네베 셰바 점 집에는 bomba타거나 출루에 된지에 추조 된지는 봐 어다데 bom바리에 삼사 어다데 내적 초바세전 어다데 거다 타니베 셰베 뭐 저거 이노죠 다 군조베 셰베 뭐서 다 그때 타니베 셰베 뭐 다 제바지다데 군조베 제바지다다 된다베 제바지다 호 조당 로가요 봐 조당 로가요 봐
So the how then, number 3 there, how to apply those lines of reasoning to other phenomena. And I'm saying really here that the analysis, or the lines of reasoning used in terms of analyzing the self and the aggregates, it follows the same pattern as the analysis of the chariot done previously, and that these lines of reasoning can then be applied to indeed all other phenomena, such as pots and cloth, etc. So you take the idea of a pot and so on, and say, analyze whether it is one with its part, like its form, for example, or different from them, and using that analysis to see if there's any kind of intrinsic oneness or difference between it and its parts, and indeed going through the whole 7 possibilities, and really analyzing in that way and finding that they do not exist intrinsically in any of those ways in terms of either of the 2 truths, and that instead that they are posited from the perspective of a non-analytical, conventional consciousness. And so here it's like taking into consideration that when one is engaging in ultimate analysis, this is one style of procedure, and that when one is engaging in conventional analysis, that is another style of procedure. So the next outline, how to determine that there is no self in phenomena. And so here it's saying the basis on which one designates, on which a person is designated, as we have found before, are like the 5 aggregates, and the 6 constituents, such as earth, etc., and the 6 sources, such as eyes, etc., and that on the basis of that one can posit or impute or designate self, and these aggregates, constituents, and eyes and sources are objects. These are the phenomena that is referred to under this heading, and their emptiness of essential or intrinsic existence is the selflessness of phenomena. And so here, many ways of being able to establish that, and that one must understand that when we talk about emptiness of persons and emptiness of phenomena, there is no difference in terms of what emptiness is realized there. The difference is in terms of the basis of designation, that is just in terms of it being the emptiness of persons or the emptiness of phenomena that you're referring to. 무시게와 가봐도 ngoba ranking me ba den la papa te
주바 슈 다다 고주공가 나도 자도 고주공가
예 so the tagarangi sungbaderwa wodi they dena papa so mango yogyang
수바데 다스기도 수바 다와데다 콤데 주바 본 추니스게 아무시 오관다
네 티셔나 마 장관
주버서 무식계가 라소가 라신 매버텔라 바바티니 제바초 가서 제바서 추게 다음에 또 송소서 어디야 디바 찬트서.
So and in regard to establishing the selflessness or emptiness of phenomena and determining that, there are many ways to go about that, and one of the main ways comes from the Master Chandra Kirti's commentary on the middle way, on his own middle way, entering the middle way, where he says that one can ascertain the lack of intrinsic existence of phenomena or of things in terms of the refuting 4 types of production, and in this way that selflessness is established. Selflessness, of phenomena, or entityless of phenomena is established. Gewasana also the jikba tang tade tang nisnangsing or the tang nieba tang jikba.
Ta suba tawa deta kombeasa tiba po tsuinesa tetara da giwa da giwa ranshin ge tuba du zamya meba tone de tyon komba chebe asa da giwa zimbe chikta do ta de lo na ana de wala nyawal na baso nga shebe le bashi doche de lo na lembe kenje ne siba chunga meba sa nebe sibe kenji pungbu nyansan choga sa ana kewa seba taba toba kyodos ta kanja dende yanga chungi ta lukchung kone tocho yero ta marikwe kone malana ane di kone lana nyomo kiki mara nyomo machina lesa yongwa namshe pacha sha yongwa marwa dila dene ta silen siba simbo seto yongwa di mayana ta kewa ta kawa nawa chiwala so yongto marwa wata kanja wate tocho teten taba
And so the next outline on page 380 there, how to eliminate obscurations by becoming accustomed to those views. And so once one understands, once one really sees that neither self nor that which belongs to the self exist intrinsically, even at the atomical level, then one really has to habituate to that understanding, really familiarize that understanding, and that in this way then one can really overcome the kind of the wrong views with regard to that, such as the reifying view of the perishing aggregates, which are grasping onto the self and that which belongs to the self. And so once we overcome that, once we stop that reifying view of the perishing aggregates, then we can deal with the 4 types of grasping that lead on from that, such as grasping on or holding on to what you want, and that one can stop these. Once we stop these, then we can become assured that existence conditioned by attachment will be less likely to occur. And once we familiarize with that, and then we can bring an end to rebirth, the rebirth of our own aggregates, which are conditioned by such an existence. And again, I'm saying this is in a way implicitly referring to the 12 links of dependent origination, whereby it says if you start at the beginning there, which is the first link is ignorance, and when you overcome that ignorance as described here, then one no longer will be generating mental afflictions. Therefore no longer will be laying down karma which is predicated by mental affliction, and on the basis of that then we won't have those imprints on the mind. We won't be engaging in craving and grasping or taking rebirth or becoming on the basis of that craving and grasping. So in that way it says it stops such rebirth. And then without that birth, then there was none of the subsequent inevitabilities of old age, sickness and death following from that. then we can really retire. Yeah, that's yeah, so without retiring this kind of like suffering aggregates, we will never be actually retired. So like when we reach this point of really having an idea of what that view of entity-lessness is about, one really gets a much more of an idea of how extraordinary the Buddha was, and it kind of in particularly with regard to this teachings on entity-lessness or selflessness. And from our point of view, like what the Buddha is explaining is actuality, is reality, but we don't recognize it as such. We can't see it as such, and so to understand also what the Buddha, having started off like us under the influence of karma and the mental afflictions, and then really analyzing as to what were the true causes of suffering, true causes of happiness, and if through eons of practice, gaining further and further conviction as to the path, and then through his own experience explaining what his realizations were, in particular with regard to this nature of reality, is giving us really eyes to see that which was always there, the reality that is always there, but which we couldn't recognize. For such a kindness, we should be incredibly grateful. Yeah, it's really the essence of the Buddha's teachings. Then the next main heading, there you see classifications of insight, and that here it's saying with regard to classifications of insight there are many, but here for the purpose of this text we'll take the those are relevant to an ordinary being. So it's saying for an ordinary being's complete insight, one needs the cultivation of a fourfold insight, a threefold insight, and a sixfold insight. That's with regard to the first fourfold insight. This is referring to the process of differentiation. And so there is a differentiation which observes the diversity of conventional phenomena, and then a full differentiation which observes the real nature of phenomena. And then allied to those are sort of two procedures, and that there is this thorough examination and thorough analysis allied with both. So I think that's where the fourfold comes in, and that rather than the actual insights themselves, it's referred to these twin processes of thorough examination and thorough analysis that are allied to both the observation of the diversity of conventional phenomena and the observation of real phenomena, real nature of phenomena.
Number sumnesa semale chunga, yonzo chowale chunga, soso tombale chunga desa.
And then the threefold analysis refers to analysis arising from signs, analysis arising from thorough searching, and analysis arising from analytical discrimination. The first of these, the insight arising from signs, refers to, for example, one's observation of the meaning of selflessness or entitylessness, and attending to the signs of that observation. The second of these, the insight arising from thorough searching, is it means how one can come to a conclusion in order to determine what has not before been determined. So it's really kind of like really getting to know what you haven't known already. And the third is the insight arising from analytical discrimination. Here, it's where we analyze, as before, a meaning which is already being determined, and we use our analytical discrimination to kind of revisit that meaning.
Number two nesa she because number two nesa she do la mi wate they are yonzo tsuya handon je tsulo ta de la tuenda ngobu da tsini da cho da du da ribo yonzo tsuwa je je zene jang de da lo so so do ma wo je.
The sixfold insight refers to the observation of 6 different bases, and that here one uses this procedure of the thorough searching that was mentioned under the threefold insight, and so this is the thorough searching insight that is used to observe the meanings, things, characteristics, categories, times, and reasonings. And so having used the thorough searching procedure to do that, then one engages in analytical discrimination with regard to those objects or bases. And then the next outline, how to cultivate insight, and this has 2 headings. First is the refutation of other systems, and secondly the presentation of our own system.
Kaya me mani jang sa da me be tawa kaya mani jang sem chi ya mi do ba suna so ate yin lu ge tyon ko ba chawa yin de sa ta ro da yin lu ge tyon ko ba chawa yin de sa ka cha nam do kaya ma cha chen ko de cha ko ba chawa yin de sa yin lu ge tong ba ni de yin ba sa yin lu ge tong ba ni de yin de sa ta ka sa yin lu ge 최탐 그다 최 소소다 같이 라시의 디인베서 디 마인기 무슨 탐자 제와 인베 대다 쪽에 출대는 루다 통과 수가 인식 마오자 마오.
So the first of these headings is the refutation of other systems, and there are four specific refutations. The first of these begins like this. So the opponent's position says that one does not find any view of selflessness, of understanding selflessness, that one establishes the meaning of how things are through a state that lacks any thought whatsoever. And so, and it's saying it's backing this up by saying that this is because the way that things exist, emptiness, cannot be identified in terms of what is or what is not, and therefore setting the mind in this way, that is thinking about nothing at all, brings it into accordance with the way that things actually exist. For with no object existing at all in the face of emptiness, the mind does not apprehend anything. So this is really any sort of appearance that one stops, any sort of appearance to the mind, that one must abide or stay in a state of mind in which nothing arises, which is no thought whatsoever. So this opponent's position of not thinking on anything as the correct way to ascertain emptiness is referring to a famous incident that happened in Tibet. And the venue was actually the very first monastery established in Tibet, Samye monastery, and the abbot of that was the great master Shantarak Shiwa. And in establishing a process of a system of meditation for Samye, and subsequently indeed for all of Tibet, they're kind of like various meditators came to put forward their preferences, and one was a Chinese monk referred to in history as Hashang, and this was his position. Basically, he was saying that in order to ascertain the correct view, one must not allow any thoughts, good or bad, to arise in the mind. One must stay in a position of thinking about nothing at all. And that in opposition to this was Shantarak Shiva's his disciple Kamalashila, who composed the 3 stages of meditation. And his position was that to think about nothing at all was not the way to go, was the incorrect way, and so he encouraged analytical meditation, and with the result in the end that Kamalashila's position won out, and Hashang's position lost, and he is said to have returned to China.
지다 들이가서 어디 연구요 요살에 다까지 냠리지 간장선에 삼루시아 단주메게 차로스도 가야 내가 검팅했디 아니 오늘 저는 검 뿌다 보시나 남주 채도 쪽으로 와 삼루디 배 가서 세다 삼루 가서 미 거기서 중도 쪽으로 차라 아니 지 시다 삼루 시다 단주메게 소리잖아 미 톰되게 소리지 문제는 다 가지고 배는 검자네 배는 신에 이나다 신에 다 되게 토모도 아니 미디 삼루 단에도 니버체다 줘야 삼루도 숙체다 줘야 삼루 중도 줘야 지용으로 뒤 차로 아니 가서라 미 톰되게 소리지 네가 저 검장 지금 놓아되게 요로 검장이 놓아되게 요래
So also, you know, this is not just an ancient sort of presentation of this idea of thinking about nothing at all as being equivalent to good meditation. That we see this now, isn't it? Like there's a lot of people have this notion of meditation as getting into this sort of space-like nothing at all notion, and that you know, it sort of is equivalent to a sort of a sense of a confused state, and there are those even in the process of trying to develop mental serenity, where the idea is, yes, one gains clarity and focus that is meant to get more and more subtle and more focused as one proceeds along, in order to enhance clarity. But end up in a state of kind of this sense of confusion, of just having this spaced out or space-like notion of in their minds, and so this is some sort of mistake in the procedure of their meditation.
대미리대 간사대 대다 남도자 대다 조게 취대다 튜벌 두발라 동료 공부되나니 하자 태와 주대 옹비 셰바 탐제제에서 탐제제 되니 디오셰 되니 디미노 냐바 가야 미지베 치로세.
So this is the objection that the way that that this person is presenting their system is that one doesn't have any elaborations, one does not think of anything, and that this is in harmony, just in accordance with the way that things exist, and this is the way to meditate on emptiness. And the reply to that is saying that, you know, that, you know, if all phenomena are ultimately free of all elaboration, and if this is the way that a person presents things, this person is not aware of this, and then setting the mind in that way and saying that accords with the correct meditation on emptiness, or asserting that is meditation on emptiness, is sort of absurd, that it doesn't follow at all. And as in a further point to that, say none of the sensory consciousnesses think or have the possibility to think this is this and this is not this, and so so it's saying that you know, you do not think at all, have no elaboration in your mind in order to think about emptiness is illogical.
이좀 도로지가 지고 셀루카바 니바니에서 카진나리아사 다음에 동반이 따와 많이 봐 지야미도 저번 많이 봐 지야미도 봐 미도바 저번 삼지 돈이 공부를 미리 봐 돈이 공부를 미리 봐 코버자자 되베서 되베 나만 미리 연장해서 다음에 べに 따와 니 친제 간사대 미도버 샤바 탐제 돈이 공부 이노시 마오 대야 미리바 인데 강사대 녀든게 따와 녀바 임베 코베 미도바 강 공바 탐제 녀든게 따와 때라 파베 되어 공바 주나 된데베 강사대 자주게 셈 공바 대야 녀든게 따와 공바 교회 치료.
The second refutation of other systems. So the next objector says, okay, when it comes to so if one has not found the view of emptiness, then the mere setting of the mind in a state of that lacks any thought, without actually finding in the view of emptiness, we, as stated above, we also disagree with. We hold that that's incorrect also. However, so this is the second objection, or the second position, saying, however, once that person has found a definitive meaning of entitylessness or selflessness, then any meditation, any non-conceptual meditation of that person becomes a meditation on emptiness itself. So once they have the definitive meaning, then any non-conceptual meditation they enter into is a valid meditation on emptiness. And so this position is also refuted, saying this is incorrect. And so so you're saying, your claim is saying that once a person finds the view, a definitive view, then once they enter into then a non-conceptual meditation, all non-conceptual meditations subsequently are meditations on the meaning determined by that definitive view. And so it's saying, so that means that you're saying that would be similar to saying that a meditation on the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, was also a meditation on the meaning determined by the definitive view. How could that be?
미도바 강샤장 돈이 공부 미되지 왜냐 지장 미도바 종리기에서 대 뭐도 소소도 셰랍지 제바 차지 등 대워도 미도바 강샤와 탐체 돈이 그 돈고바 주로시 마워 대야 밑에대 대다나 니 로커 따외 제바 차지 전에 대 제소 니 투불 미도바야 돈이 공부 하자 태워.
The third refutation, so if it comes from a person who says, okay, I do not agree with the first person who says this, that a meditation on emptiness is this non-conceptual state without actually finding the view. I don't assert that, that's fine. And also, I disagree with the second person when they say that even having found the view, that thereafter any sort of non-conceptual placement of the mind is a meditation on emptiness. I agree with you, because I don't assert that. However, my position is like this. I say that there's this one can alternate between a non-conceptual and a kind of a conceptual states of mind when one meditates on emptiness. And beginning with a period devoted to analysis, using discriminating wisdom, and that you ascertain the view based on that, and then after that, whatever you meditate on then becomes a non-conceptual meditation on emptiness. And again, the reply is no, wrong. Because if you take that position, then it would follow that if you did some analytical analysis using discriminating wisdom on the view just prior to falling asleep, then that your sleep, being a non-conceptual state, would also be a meditation on emptiness. So that's absurd. That doesn't follow.
다 실루가와 시바데데 카진나레 대다 나마숨 미되지 돈이 공배세 돈이란 녀바탕데 테네 디텔라 셈손에서 텔레 셴도 미주버라 저번에 돈이 친지 말로바 공바 인데서 룩당보다 돈이라 로가 마초바야 내라 룩닉바타게 미도바 좀베세 돈이게 따와 정바야 미제바 야 미신 룩숨바타 따외 제바 모도 땅네 데네 따토도 미네베 또바야 미베 치로냐면 데네 따외 제바 제세베 따와 전잠제네 따토도 줘봐 따토도 어서 조금 코나 제발라 돈이 공부 되봐 임베 리바마 인데 데타나 데라 돈이라 조금 제베 신내 좀 여기 조금 한동기 종수 매베 실라니 실라니에서 저월 종과 매베 초 지가 임베 치료죠 다들 것을 한동기 시고로부터 돈이를 미베 신내게 시고요 말다 뒤 돈이 미베 신내 차도고 도와 한동스인데 미바데 믹데베 점게 로 수르치네 아니 고야 지금 대바투모도 제바치에 줘봐 제바투 그나 다시 고네 제바치기나 그래 제바치 수르치네 제바치 그러나 미과 이거 돈이가라 다 돈이 미베 신내 톱 엔데네 한동 연구로 왔다 신내 미과샤 아니 로 수르치네 야 지금 다시 고네 제바치네 대바투나 데스토그라스타 지좀 제바치 로 수르치데 데네바치 딜라테네 아니 가서다 한동 딜라테네 신내 니바 숙체다 줘 신내 딜라테네 한동 니바 다 실라숨 대중한테 그 여봐다 다들 한동 돈이 왜 한동까지 시고 여봐 다들 신내 잠을 해도 돈이 왜 신내 잠 나 고마도 줄지 사바래도 왔다 다들 고마도 줄래 다들 괜찮아서 숨바 유바 당분이바 숨바 시바 또 고마 숨래티 부탁하도 와 그리고 신내 자들도 돈이 왜 신내 자들도 와 다들 한동 차려 말와
So again, I'm saying many of these objections are really emphasizing the process of meditative serenity without really discussing special insight, and that with regard to that, they get more subtle as you go along. So each subsequent refutation is more subtle than the one that goes before it, but they're still erring on the side of just describing a sort of a souped up meditative serenity without really discussing insight. However, with regard to the fourth refutation, so this person says, okay, I do not agree with the three former positions, so I do not incur that sort of fault, and that so my position is that, like, once one kind of induces in a kind of certainty with regard to emptiness by meditating, by habituating to emptiness, then one really holds the mind on that point, that meaning, and that without kind of like being analyzing in any other way, and one stabilizes that, and that this is a non-mistaken meditation on emptiness. And I'll further back that up by saying it doesn't have the fault of the first objection, so it's unlike the first objection, where the mind is not even turned towards emptiness, and when they're talking about not, having any sort of thoughts in the mind at all. And it's unlike the second position, where they sustain this, when they sustain this kind of non-conceptual state of mind, that they are not mindful of the view of emptiness. They don't have the view of emptiness. And it's unlike the third objection above, where they talk about doing this analysis and then afterwards stabilizing the mind in a non-conceptual state, in which the mind does not remain on the view. So saying that our presentation here is correct, but the answer again is saying that what you refer to as analysis there is simply recalling or remembering the view of emptiness, or the meaning of the view, and that when you kind of only stabilizing on that then and claiming that is meditation on emptiness is not correct. Again, it's illogical, and so so it's kind of now introducing the idea. If that were emptiness, then it sort of would be an emptiness, a placing of the mind on emptiness with a mere meditative serenity. So here we're talking about then this development of this meditative serenity, and but it would not have the analytical meditation, which is the method for sustaining insight, and so that is an incorrect approach, and one cannot sustain the essential union of serenity and insight when it comes to actual meditation on emptiness. So I was saying, as Gannon was saying here, that it's kind of like a one-sided approach, where they are emphasizing the kind of meditative serenity aspect of meditation without taking into consideration the insight aspect of meditation. So when one actually meditates on emptiness, yes, and indeed when using the approach of the combination of meditative serenity and insight, one holds the object through the power of one's meditative serenity, but one has a sort of an aspect of one's attention, insight, the insight aspect of one's attention is checking as to what degree true existence is impinging on that focus, and that here, when it's done correctly, the meditative serenity and insight are mutually supportive. They enhance each other.
당가라도 지금 세네달 한동 파도 결라다 디 지에가 제대 단계 말봐 다 그제 지 세네달 한동 탑 되게도 좀 하는 거기 지금 쌤디 장바치 보여봐 인자 그래서 가서 배는 수불 류제시고 제도 류제 장바치 보다는 쌤게 그 제자 소소의 이야와치데 그 배주 딱딱딱 당시게 두고 다 시고 제도 열받아 그래서 삼류기 엑서사이즈 되시고 여기 인자 그거 어때요? 당가라서 쌤 거와셔한테 이제 좋대요.
So like for us who don't have the development of meditative serenity and the insight or special insight, as it's sometimes referred to, it's hard to even get a handle on how skillfully the person who has attained these states, these skills, how skillfully they can use the mind, use one attention. The kind of like it's really scalpel like in being able to ascertain the view, then settle on that, then ascertain the view, then settle on that, and it's kind of it's done like simultaneously, because with the attainment of such powerful concentration coming from a mental serenity, one develops this pliability of mind, and that the whole pliancy of body and mind plays a big part in how serviceable one's attention can be at that point. One can really use both elements of that focus of serenity and the analytical element of insight, incredibly subtly and with great skill. 소파 공예로
말아 소파 받다 베나 셰바 코랄 데세민다 뭐 보여라 뭐지 셰바스나 셈스도 셈지 셈 코랄 나라야 코랄 코르 연구 열어 코르 브레이스를 칼 코르 칼렉트 셈 코랄
surrounding or attendant factors 나도 the 무투네 델라요
열어 코랄도 소스도 내가 미다 지금 열어 아, 네가 근데 배주 당신이야. 어제 배주 당이 봐. 냠뇽매나 배주 당신이 바로 와. 그래서 그 삼로고 톤에다 같이 저 되네 이번에 다다다 저 낭백의 사이콜로지도 배 추부 열었을 때로 와. 쌤그 조다한테 배 쌤소스 잘레미다 와. 저 조쌤 코란의 코르든 저거 잘레미다 와. 다가는 시 쌤종 대조 코란서 대세미다 와 잘레미다 와. 근데 그 배주 당신 와. 내가 그거 도와주고 그거 와.
And so, with such fitness of mind, such cultivation of mind, that such a person who has attained that, has at their disposal the kind of the full power of mind. So when we talk about like the main mind or main consciousness, and for example it's 5 ever-present factors that are always there in every every mind, and so we are not able to make use of that, or to be able to as it were commandeer those 5 ever-present factors, but they have their own individual functions as well. And somebody who has control like that of their mind is able to really commandeer the functionality of each of these, and indeed other mental functions as well, to really have a skillful sway over and control of the full psychological breadth of a consciousness. And so it's for us we're kind of like operating in the dark, really, because we don't recognize, let alone we don't know how to use, let alone recognize these factors. So we are not so each of these factors operate anyway, but we are sort of blindsided to what's going on in our own mind, because we don't have that strength of focus or analytical ability to be able to take control and to use those functions to do what we want. Yeah.
대자 고지 셰바찌기 아니 셰바찌를 봐 따다다 된데디 야고 야구전에다 지금 매주 당시에 제에서부터 뉴버드도 야 깨버이나 아니 지금 가서래 아니 지금 컨트롤지에 동대고 싶어서 너무 컨트롤지에 대해서 다 뉴버자에도 동대고 싶차에 동대고 싶차에 또 지금 연구여사래
And so you can see that with a skillful management and control over these consciousnesses, these functions of consciousness, these mental functions, and that one can really really fulfill the full potential of consciousness itself. And so being able to overcome and deal with mental afflictions becomes much more easy, much more readily done.
ngaran 쪽에 되게 수카몰로저 파칼런데 그러는데 파다니 난쪽에 삼로고 니바티 문제는 카출로데 랑이 너무 많이 버서고 열와 디소저 사람 먼저 카출말을 카팔로네 비견도 피지도 피다다.
Yeah, there's in many ways we're not even focused on our own internal issues and then being able to deal with them, because we're facing out, looking at who else has faults over there and what their problems are and so on.
Yeah, 파다데로 수칼로요 말와. 당문에잖아 최근에 지금 수칼로고도 파칼로에르면도 와.
So really, if it's a seriously sincere Dharma consciousness, it's always really looking within to see that control is maintained and that the best attitude is put forward. So the next outline is the presentation of our own system, and again two subheadings: why both stabilizing meditation and analytical meditation are necessary, and overcoming objections to that. And also there's a third, a summary of the key points for sustaining insight and serenity. So the first of these, presenting our own system, and the showing the reasons behind why both stabilizing meditation and analytical meditation are both necessary. And so here it says, if one is not certain with regard to the meaning of entitylessness, so one does not have certainty in the view, then the knowledge, that is insight, will not be generated. So the question then is, how does one create insight? So it's saying at the beginning, one must enter into this process of gaining ascertainment or determining the view. And this is a process of really determining through analysis from many different lines of reasoning, using logic and using scriptural citation. So one must approach this from sort of many doors and gain this certainty with regard to the view. And once one gains that certainty, then one really starts to habituate to that by using discriminating wisdom, analyzing, using discriminating wisdom again and again and again. And that if that analysis is something that is sort of it's a absolutely quintessential element, because if the analysis process, the exercise of analysis is not sustained, one just concentrates on generating a placement sort of meditation, that stabilizing meditation, that alone is not enough, and insight will not be generated just like that. And so it's a sense of, if one has generated mental serenity, that ability to stabilize the mind or one's meditation, and then when we engage in meditation thereafter, it's vital that we must sustain the view through analysis, and so that insight, analytical aspect, is very, very important. So it's like the insight is that which is like generated like from this sense of pliancy that we mentioned earlier, which in turn is induced by the power of analysis. And so one previously sets up this stability of mind that must be sustained, but along with that also the analytical meditation must be sustained. So both are very, very necessary. And that once one, for example, in specific meditations, one will enter into the process of analytical meditation on a chosen object and reach conclusion with regard to that object. And at the conclusion of that analysis, then one applies the stabilizing meditation. And so in terms of the focus on entitylessness, it's vital to have this unity of mental serenity and insight focused on that purpose.
제보다 균이 제수 tumba kuwe chnyamna 좀된 된제 셴네 빼나 신리에서 룽기 주바 델레 매중심서 이제 신리 룽기 주바 델레 매중심 매중대서 매중대 중내 신리 세과 신도 양다버 소소도바 유나 도바 유나 파베 셰라주 파베 방거자요 파베 셰라주 공부게대 대개의 양다바 소소도바데 데니 세버체도서 셰 소소도발레 파베 셰랍게버 송소오체.
And then the second of those subheadings underneath the presentation of our own system was overcoming objections to that position where we say that both stabilizing meditation and analytical meditation are necessary. And so here the So oh yes, and so that the objection here is that if one says that a conceptual analysis is necessary in order to ascertain the meaning of entitylessness, this is incompatible with the generation of a non-conceptual sublime wisdom. And so the point here is saying that that using a conceptual analysis is incompatible with generating a non-conceptual sublime wisdom, saying this is contrary to cause and effect, and say this is not in harmony with the cause and effect. That cause could not bring about that effect. So this is the objection, and the reply to that objection simply quotes the Buddha directly, where they say the Buddha is speaking to Kashyapa and says, Kashyapa, it is thus. For example, two trees are dragged together by wind, and from that a fire starts burning the two trees. In the same way, Kashyapa, if you have correct analytical discrimination, the power of an Arya's wisdom will emerge, and with its emergence, correct analytical discrimination itself will be burned up. And in saying that, then it's saying that the generation of an Arya being's wisdom arises from this analytical discrimination, the correct analytical discrimination.
다 소바 동수 근데 뒤바네 나 셰바다 니도게 따와 니바테 나다 나오 냐데 지바 간라게베 시다당 다기와 라시메바다 maybe 샤스다 뒤주게 돼서 말이야. 한 제마들은 것도 다 차다 차와 제마들 것도 검지 잡은 뒤 잡아지죠.
So again, I said we'll leave it there for today. But we then again I can foresee that in the next session we can finish this text completely, maybe do some meditation and finish off the text. Alright, so I wouldn't be able to finish it today because we'll run out of time. So the Lam Rim Outline. So we do the prayer for. So from my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives mentory. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means strong by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I hold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and all the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this great path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.